الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Anyone got any questions from last week? Everyone good? Everyone clear on alcohol? So which alcohol is prohibited? Full stop.
Grapevine,
Khamr. What does khamr mean?
wine from grapes.
According to the Hanafis, yeah? What about dates?
As long as that process is stopped before it becomes alcohol.
So we didn't mention dates last week, but strictly khamr is wine from grapes. But there's a hadith which mentions khamr is from these two trees. One of them is what? Grapes, and the other one is dates. Okay, so because the hadith, they also put dates in the same category. Okay, if you don't mind, if you just close that door from behind. Okay, so they put the dates, grapes, and dates in the same category. Okay, so that's one thing. So they put the dates with it as well, but the dates is kind of primary. What do they consider khamr to be? Hanafis is grapes, but then the hadith mentions that khamr is from these two trees. Okay, so they kind of bundle both of them together. So from dates and grape, so they say it's prohibited, but very strictly to the definitive level, they say it's only grape. Okay, but then they also bring dates into it because of the hadith that mentions it, that khamr is from these two trees. So yeah, so to be careful, it's not from grape and it's not from dates. Okay, any other alcohol is not najis. Okay, and its consumption is not permissible based on as long as or its consumption is permissible as long as the four conditions that we mentioned are satisfied. Okay, and if on the four conditions, let's say it fails one of the four conditions, the test, then what does it become? Prohibited. And when it becomes prohibited, the scholars say it also takes the ruling of the najis at that time as well. Because now it's treated as khamr. And if it's used in that way, then it also takes the ruling of khamr, which is najis. But for that to happen, it has to be used in that way. So the question here now, if all alcohol is najis according to the Shafi and the Hanbali view, would that include the alcoholic wipes, antiseptic, yeah, everything basically? For them, is any alcoholic usage would be problematic. Okay, it'll be najis. Okay, but then again, the Shafis nowadays they refer to ethyl alcohol or methanol, right? Ethanol, they say, is the intoxicating one. Okay, so those who kind of want to specify a bit, they refer to ethanol as the one that should be avoided in things, because all of the alcohol is basically not intoxicating. You see, it's intoxicant, right? So what they're referring to is intoxicants. All intoxicants are khamr. Okay, all intoxicants are khamr. So which alcohol is intoxicating? No. Which generally, I'm just talking generally. Which alcohol is intoxicating?
All of them?
No.
No, drinking.
No, they're not. They're not. If you drink some alcohol, you'll die. They're not forget the intoxicating part. You'll die straight away. Okay, but which alcohol is used for intoxication or has the intoxicating nature before it kills you? They normally pinpoint ethanol. All of the alcohols are not going to intoxicate, they're going to kill you, like some of them. Okay, and the most common one that's intoxicating is ethanol, which is why if you look at these Google reviews and like answers and all that, or different forums, the Shafis and all that, what are they picking on? Which alcohol are they picking on? Ethanol. Because you can drink that and get intoxicated. The others that are industry standards and used for things, if you find them, if you drink them, forget intoxicating, they will kill you. They're dangerous. Okay, so they're not there for intoxication. So what do they base their ruling that ethanol or these other alcohols are prohibited? Because the hadith mentions anything which is intoxicating is what? Khamr. Okay, so it has to have intoxicating abilities for something to be considered to be prohibited and najis. For something to be prohibited and considered as alcohol on the category of intoxicants. All intoxicants are najis for them. But if there's a particular alcohol which is not intoxicating, which is just dangerous, that will not take the ruling of najis. Are you understanding? But it's all intoxicants which are prohibited. But not all alcohols are going to be intoxicating. Some of them are just going to be dangerous. They'll kill you if you drink a sip of them. Okay. So yes, they'll have a problem with these alcoholic wipes. And what would they do if they have to use it for medical purposes? Darura, the concept of darura. So if there's a necessity, then they will say it's permissible. And what is necessity? A life and death situation, really. Or a situation where you are, let's say they can amputate your limbs or something if you don't use it. Or there's a danger of you losing your limbs. Functionality of the body is going to disappear. Darura, necessity. And how is darura established? By genuine doctor reports. Like, experts in the field, if they say if you don't take it, there's great harm waiting for you. In that case, they will say that's all madhahib, by the way. Not just Hanafis. When it comes to darura necessities, and all madhahib are generally lenient in those things. Okay, moving on. So we're looking at now what is excused filth. The size of a dirham is excused. We talked about this. Okay. Okay, we were just there pretty much. But what we're saying, talking about is the reason we divide filth into major and minor is because it's what is excused on your what amount is excused on your clothing or your body or the prayer place. That's the only reason we make a distinction between filth being major or minor. Whereas Imam Shafi and Imam Zufar, they say filth is filth. There is no such thing as being excused amount of filth and all that. But the Hanafis, we see it as, there's an excused amount because there's certain amount that you just can't avoid. Like someone goes to the bathroom, relieves himself, maybe a bit of spray of urine, might, he might be afflicted by it. You do your best to clean, wipe yourself, but maybe, there's only so much you can do, and then after a certain point, then give me a minute. almost. Apologies for this. Okay. So yeah, the Hanafis are kind of, there's a certain amount of filth you just can't avoid, and you're bound to get afflicted with it. So therefore, we have to kind of make some leeway in that sense. And this is where between minor filth and major filth, the Hanafis will be okay. Let's we can hear now. Okay, so what do they say? The Hanafi's position is that little impurity is unable to avoid and therefore is pardoned. However, if the amount exceeds this, it is not exempted, and that's what we're going to look at now. So likewise, the light spray of urine is excused if the size of each speck of the urine is no larger than the head of the pin-sized needle when it comes onto one's dress and body. The reason this is the case is because one cannot prevent the most of the again, spray, urine, and all that, especially if you're urinating outside, traveling. Imagine the old days. In the old days, what were people doing? Traveling with caravans, they're having to find like a corner. In the old days, there was no toilets. Where would they urinate? Where would they relieve themselves? Designated place in the open, like. So people would not. They would like in the villages. The same thing happened in our. Ask our elders. They will say we would. Yeah, you've been through it, right? Still, this generation has been through it as well. The house is here, and then they have to walk away into the forest sometimes, and this is where they would as far as they could go.
Yeah, the further the better.
The further the better, right? And that's why you get all these jinn stories and all that, right? But that's how it was. And if it's a windy day, what are you going to do? If you're relieving yourself, the wind is going to blow it off. So that's why, again, there has to be some leeway there. So this is in regards to major filth. What do we say? Size of a dirham, 50p, 50p coin, whatever, in the inside of the palm. That much amount is kind of excused. And this is so you're looking at your clothing. If you got a scar this much, right? Because let's say it's urine or it's stool, which is kind of smudged and now it's spread. Okay, so that's the way you measure it. Like how much has it spread? If it's more than a dirham on your body, on your clothing, or on the prayer place, it needs to be washed away. Less than that is excused.
A question. So the size of the dirham.
Yeah.
When you say the palm of your hand, so those who have big hands versus those small hands.
So you go with the average.
Yeah.
So I know because again, what they say is, how big of a hand can someone have? There's gonna be a hand is a hand. You're gonna get small, and it's like a big hand. You're looking at the average, which is why they say 3 to 5 centimeter.
Okay. So it can't exceed 5 centimeters.
Yeah. So that's what they take into consideration. The diameter is going to be like 3 to 5, depending on the size of the hand. But that's what it's an estimation, really. This much is excuse amount. They could have used anything, really, but the fuqaha decided that let's use the hand as a measurement. And that is something quite consistent, really, between different size people. The hand's not going to vary too much. Likewise, the light spray of urine is excused if the size of each speck of the urine is no larger than the the needle head. They're very fine specks. No proper splashes. It's not talking about splashes like someone's urinating and it's been splashed back. That's not taking care while urinating. This is something like the wind is blowing and it's just spraying it back onto you like those fine specks.
So this is if it's more than the 50p size, as in it's a bigger surface area.
No,
but there's little specks.
Yeah, so
if it's less than the 50p, then it doesn't matter.
These are two different situations. So one situation is someone realizes he urinated. Right. Okay, someone has urine incontinence, for example, and they feel like something has exited. And then they check the cloth, and it's less than a dirham.
Yeah, and then it's okay.
Then it's okay. The other situation is is the urine specks are being sprayed on you. So let's say you are relieving yourself outside and the wind is blowing. It's a different situation. Over here, you can't really measure
Where it's gone, yeah.
the size. You can't. Okay, it's a different circumstance here where it's unavoidable, where one's urinating and the wind is kind of now bringing some specks, and you can tell, you can feel like you can tell on your let's say on your body, you can feel like you're getting
Spray.
wetness spray, but then it's very fine spray.
So pin-sized needle is basically going to be invisible to the eye.
Invisible to the eye,
Can't see.
but you're feeling it. The wind is kind of throwing it back at you.
It's like a
Mist kind of thing, yeah. That's how fine you're looking at.
If you can see spots everywhere, then it's too big.
No, then if you, well, that's actually, that's big drops now.
Yeah.
So that's what they look, so. Yeah, if someone has urine incontinent and some urine spilled, how can you quantify if it's gone into the clothes? It's going to have to be, you're going to have to do, you're going to have to figure it out really. The person who's afflicted with it will know better. Is it the size of a dirham or is it not? Obviously the person who will check straight away if he's able to check. Less if one is like out and about and they can't check, then it's going to be you're going with your best estimation really. Was there a lot or was there not a lot? That's of course, would it just not be better to wash and change? Yes, purity is best. You rather, but this is situations where where you don't have any other choice, and instead of falling into despair and worrying about, oh, I can't pray and I can't, the Deen is giving you facilitation there. It's giving you ease, and the ease here is it's a huge amount. Okay, so you can pray in that, and for sure, the best is always to go and get changed, etc., or wash it away if it's on the body. Okay, but we have issues. We have genuine issues, like genuine cases, urine incontinence, for example. Those kind of people, what do? They can't keep changing every time. So for them, that's going to be a different scenario anyway. For them, it's going to be an excused scenario for them. But we're going to look at that anyway.
Can I ask a quick practical question based on this? So a couple of times, like I've ended up somewhere where service stations or some toilets, you can't help it, you really need to wee. The seat's like disgusting, there's a wheel over it, and at that particular point, I've had to stand up and do a wee. What I've always done is I've not prayed, thinking I can't, and then I'll go home, get changed, and then pray, because I've stood up and urinated. As long as the caution was taken and there was no sprinkling of urine on one's body or clothes, it's fine. I was told, my understanding was that if you stand up and urinate, then there's always going to be spray. But you can't. Not really, not necessarily. If you take a caution, no. Okay, so you be careful. And the spray you're talking about is so while urinating, there could be spray which is fine specks. So as long as you can't see anything. You see, so it's not the one that's bouncing back and splashing back, right? That is different. But that could happen as well. The spray can be a result of either, someone's holding it for too long, okay? And then while urinating, there is, the intensity of the heat or all that, or the urine, there's spray out of that. That's one spray. The other one is, it could be splashing off an object, okay? But then the resultant is not drops, it's just fine spray again. Okay, again, that is something that's excused. So under that situation, if you don't have a choice and you needed to go, so your clothes are not impure? They're not impure, no. Okay. That is something that is in the Hanafi school, which is excused. Fine spray. Okay, of course, it's something that's not avoidable. But if you're doing it on purpose, as in an option, then if you're just doing it deliberately, just letting it splash and all that, and but big droplets will not be excused anyway. It's only the fine spray
And again, the reason the fine spray is something not avoidable. And the reason that is because, let's say it's someone's urinating out in the open, they're taking all care for it not to splash back on their clothes, but there is that element of the fine specks, the mist in the form, the kind of the spray part of it, which is, yes, it's far away, it's been urinated far away, giving enough height and all that so it doesn't splash back onto the clothes and all that. But there's a possibility, or as a result of it striking the ground, that the splashes may not come back up, but there is a possibility of spray as a result of the clash. Okay, so this is what they're saying, or the wind. They're saying that is something they will excuse. But just standing and urinating, for sure, we shouldn't be doing that. But like you mentioned, there are certain cases where sitting is not ideal, really. Otherwise, you'll become filthy. So in that case, as long as, in the old days, we used to be, growing up, we used to think, oh, we have to do a stanja every time, right? If you haven't done a stanja, then you can't make wudu, right? Like every time you have to, you pass away and you have to go make a stanja. Because growing up, like, if you're not taught, you're not taught. Okay, but no, that's not the case.
We didn't do that.
Yeah,
You did the hard way.
So some kids just wouldn't pray. Why? Because I have to make a stenja now. Okay, so because I have to make a stenja, I have to go to the bathroom now. Forget it. Okay, incontinence pants are available also. I don't know what they do, but you still have. I don't know how they work. I'll have to look into it. Like, what is the method? So to keep the urine in. Okay, so they'll prevent the leak, which is still better. So it doesn't spread onto one's clothing and all that, and they can change that. But people with urine incontinence will be excused for that impurity. We're going to look at that. There's something called ma'dhur, an excused person. It's coming soon. We're going to look at that, and someone with regular bleeding, regular urine issues and all that, they are considered to be excused people when it comes to that particular field. Okay, praying with this much excuse amount is permissible, but it's disliked, makruh tanzihan. What's makruh tanzihan? How many makruhs do we have?
4 in total.
4 in total. Makruh tanzihan, makruh isa'a, makruh tahriman, and khilaful adab kind of thing, in the makruh box we had. Yeah, so is this tanzihan sinful? No, it's not sinful, okay? You should avoid it. Meaning, it's makruh tanzihan to pray with this much amount on your clothing or your body or the prayer place. But it's excused. Your prayer will be valid. It's not sinful if you don't wash it off. Should you? For sure. Anything which is disliked, then it means you should avoid it. But it's a lighter dislike. And why is why is it excused? Because of just some rational reasons here, that small amount of impurity is not avoidable in cases. Okay, light filth, and again there are 2 opinions on the amount of filth that is excused. So one way to look at it is they say 1/4 or less of one's entire body or garment. That's how you. So when it comes to major filth, it's just the size of a dirham. When it comes to major filth, minor filth, then they say what's excused is the amount 1/4 of one's entire body or garment. That's one opinion. And the other is they say 1/4 or less of the limb affected, such as hand, foot, or the segment of the garment affected, such as the sleeve, front panel of the shirt. So there are two ways of looking at it. So they say 1/4 is excused. Now 1/4 of what? One opinion is 1/4 of the entire body of the garment you're wearing, and the other opinion is 1/4 of that particular limb that's in question, or that particular thing that's in question. Like a sleeve is one thing. Okay, 1/4 of that. The front of the shirt, the back, that's one piece. Okay, you can do 1/4 of that. So there are two ways of looking at this. With the first one, some scholars commented as to which item of the clothing one does measure this quarter from. Like, what do you mean, like, the entire garment? Like, you're wearing a shalwar and kameez, or you're wearing a jubba, you're wearing pants and shirt. Like, how does one do that? And they said the response to that is that it has been said that the maximum clothing a person can pray in is that which covers his private area. What's aura for a man or a woman is navel to knee. Okay, for a woman, the aura is
Full body.
Full body except the
Face.
the hands and the
Feet.
Okay, so they say wherever is the aura, that is the garment that we consider. Okay, so therefore, if light filth affects a person clothed, such as the sleeve, the pants, and the bottom, and that amount equals to 1/4 of the minimum clothing for a prayer. So what's the minimum clothing for prayer? Navel to knee for a man. Okay, so for a woman is what? It's the entire body, really. Okay, so the amount excused is different based on gender. So therefore, if you look at the overall filth on different parts of the garment, and if it's within 1/4 of navel to knee area wise, okay, 2 square meter area, like whatever you do with fittings and all that. So then it will be, but you're not going to do that, right? You're just going to do an estimation. You're going to look at, okay, is this filth more or less 1/4 within 1/4 or not? If it's not, just by visual, estimation, then you'll say, okay, this is not excused. But this is how they kind of say, okay, so you're going to look at, okay, part of your panties got filth, part of your sleeves got filth. Okay, is it within 1/4 or not from navel to knee? Okay, front to back. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. So that's one way of looking at it. If it's less than that, then it'll be pardoned. If it's more than that, then it's not excused. Or the other way of looking at it is 1/4 of the limb you're looking at. Okay.
Both of them opinions are the Hanafi.
Both are Hanafi opinions, both are valid. Okay. Ibn Abidin, who is the latest great authority in the 19th century, he inclines towards the latter position, which is you look at the limb. He finds that more reasonable, maybe more measurable, I would say as well, when you look at each limb and 1/4 of that. And I think that's probably more easier to judge as compared to the other one, the first opinion, where you're trying to look from navel to knee. It's a bit difficult, and then it's not really gender neutral either, because men are excused
less.
More.
Excused more.
Yeah, and ladies, it's less for them because of the entire body has to be covered.
So, like a baby girl weaves on both of mum and dad.
Yeah.
So the same amount on both of them.
Yeah.
The man will be excused.
The woman, yeah. So the second opinion is much more measurable, and that's why Ibn Abidin refers kind of inclines towards. Yet both opinions are sound and follow well, as each is. And again, you never know that both of these opinions might be more suitable for different scenarios. Depending on different scenarios, you might find one opinion is more suited for it. Okay, so it just depends. Like if you're wearing a jubba, you might just think, I might just follow the first opinion, 1/4 of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regarding the horse, since Imam Muhammad considers it pure, he argues that even if one clothes are soiled by its urine excessively, more than 1/4, it does not prevent the prayer. Right? We've talked about this, okay? Because according to him, the urine of halal animals is what? pure, but that's not the mu'tamad, right? It's light filth. Okay. It's light filth because of the disagreement in the madhab. Otherwise, it would be major filth. Okay, so here it says you could be soiled in it completely. It's fine. Okay, so now let's look at the transfer of filth and its ruling. So now we know what amount is excused when it comes to major and minor filth, and where does it really matter, on your clothing, on your body, or on the place of prayer. Now, the next thing that you want to understand is how does transfer of filth happen. So if I touch Zahir, does filth transfer? If I touch the table here, objectively, does it transfer or not? Okay, how do we know that? So some principles to remember. Any clean surface is certainly what? Pure, it's tahir. No doubt about that, okay? By merely touching the najis surface, a filthy surface, so najis, okay? If you just, by merely touching, let's say I just touch this table and it's najis, we have reason to think that najasa might have transferred. We have reason to think that, okay? We're not sure yet, but at least that gives us a starting ground that maybe or maybe not. However, this thought alone is not sufficient to lift the initial certainty. What's the initial certainty? Any pure surface is tahir, okay? Because certainty is not lifted by doubt, but rather only by another certainty. Doubt here refers to anything less than certainty, including our reasoned suppositions. So when considering the transfer of filth, this is the main principle to bear in mind. And the scholars tell us that the issues of tahara are based on acting upon the outward signs, not on our reasoning. Okay, so don't come all these logical explanations. You combust this and this and that and that and that, and then this whole reaction takes place and this, and then you're going on the inwards. No, we just look at the outward. A lot of people go to restaurants, and what do we ask for? Subway? What do we look at? Change the gloves. Yeah, we look at the outward. We don't go on asking, what do you do in the kitchen? We look at the outward, okay. Are you wearing gloves? Is everything separate? That's the outward. There is no obligation to go beyond, to go in the inwards. If you go into the inwards, you're going to get the issue of the cow with Musa alayhi salam. What did these people ask for when he said go and find the cow? And the questions didn't stop. Which cow? What color? If they had just got the cow, they would have got any cow. But when you go into the inwards and all that, you bring more trouble to yourself. Okay, same with these issues of tahara, really. We go on the outward, and whatever's available on the outward, we go with that. We're not judged on the inward, really. Excessive reasoning about the issues of tahara is the door to the pits of waswasa. Okay, those people who have, OCD, just always suspicious about things, whether they're wudu or not, is why it's overthinking. Okay, trying to go too much into the inward. Okay, I felt some air in my stomach, and trying to go into the science of digestion and all that. And no, it's simple. The Prophet said, if you have a doubt, how do you know whether you pass wind or not? How? Number one,
sensation, hear it, smell it.
Hear it, sensation, or smell it. Simple. Keep it simple. On visible signs. Something that's obvious. There's no need to go too deep in that. So, as a rule, what does wetness do? Wetness normally transfers and is absorbed by the dry item or the area. Common logic. Okay? And not the other way around, i.e., dryness doesn't generally transfer. Two dry things, completely dry. One is filthy, one is pure. Do they transfer? There's no transfer, they both dry. For wetness, if this is wet, okay, and it's a pure thing, and this is the filthy thing which is dry, when they come in contact, what's going to happen?
Chain reaction.
Transfer. Why? Because the wetness will be transferred into the dry thing. The dry, filthy object will first absorb the wetness, and when it becomes wet enough, then two wet objects will do what? Transfer liquids. Okay, and at that point, so that's the kind of some common logic one needs to have, really. So this is straightforward way of looking at the matter, as we are looking to see if filth, which is something discernible, has moved and absorbed or transferred onto the other object. If the trace of filth does not appear on the object, then they are not regarded as impure. The trace of filth are what? Color, smell, and taste. Is there any fourth? Color, smell, taste. Is there anything else?
The way it looks.
The way it looks.
Sight.
That'll be color, right?
Yeah.
What if it's colorless?
If it's colorless, then it's based on what?
Sound. Sorry.
Taste or smell.
So it's sound, isn't it? You can hear it.
Doubt.
But doubt. No, we're looking at transfer. So filth, how can you discern filth? If I say, is this filthy? What are you looking at? So you're going to look at the color. Does it look like filthy? Does it give me, is it like a color of a filth? So you're going to suspect which filth it is first, right? If you're going to say it's urine on it, what are you going to look for then?
So you're saying there's a fourth?
No, I'm saying, is there any fourth?
I don't think there's fourth on that. That's it. Based on senses, I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that.
But when it comes to hearing, when it comes to passing wind, then they go with what? It's you see, that's happened. The incident's already taken place. So it's not going to help you hearing it. But it's a past event. What we're looking at is you have this object here. Is it clean or is it filthy? Sound is not going to help you here now. The sense of sound is not going to help you. The sense of touch is not going to help you here. What's going to help you? The other senses. Color, smell, taste, which is looking, basically, yeah? The sense of looking. Color, smell, taste. Why? Because, so if I look at this now, I'm going to suspect of a particular filth here. Let's say I suspect it's got a stool. It's got stool on it. So already I know I'm looking for a particular color. If the colors are not there, it's clean. If someone says, or someone did a great job of smudging over and somehow getting rid of the color, then what I'm going to look at? No, the smell. Okay, am I going to dare to taste it? Yeah, it might be an after thing where you've had something and you said, oh, that was disgusting. And then later you realize that it was what? Filth for that particular time. Okay, I suspect this of urine. Let's go urine. What do I need to see? Wetness on it first. Okay, is wetness alone enough? No. Okay, then what are you going to do? Try to smell it. Does it smell like urine, for example? So those are the traces of filth. That's how you know it. Okay, main points. So we have three cases in general when a filthy object comes in contact with a pure object. A is pure and B is najis. And both are dry. A is pure and B is najis and one of them is moist. A is pure and B is najis and one or more of them is dripping wet. Now in the both first two cases, no najasa will transfer. So when A is pure and B is najis and both are dry, And when both A is pure and B is najis, but one of them is moist, it's not wet. So how do you know something is moist? Okay, how do you know something is moist?
Looking at it.
No. So you got dry, moist, wet. How do you know? Feeling it? No. Need more of technical. When something is moist, it's not dripping. You squeeze it, nothing comes out of it. No drops. That is moist. But if I squeeze something and drops come out, that is wet. Okay? Moist is just damp, they say, right? It's just a bit damp. But that, you squeeze it, there'll be no drops coming out of it. You can't squeeze anything out of it. So that is just moist. When you say something is wet, what we mean is we squeeze, either you just see it, it's dripping wet, or it's not dripping wet, but when you squeeze it, then a few drops will come out. Even a few drops will say that is wet. That's how you know. The first two scenarios we're saying is what? If a dry and a dry, A is pure, B is impure, they come in contact, both are dry, no transfer of filth. A is pure, B is moist, it's not dripping wet. So if it's not dripping wet, can a drop transfer to the other object? If I can't squeeze anything out of it, do you think by them coming in contact, any wetness will transfer onto the pure object? Generally?
Generally, no.
No. Because if I squeeze it and nothing comes out of it, just by touching it, generally nothing's going to transfer from the moist object into the... So we say generally nothing will be transferred, filth will not transfer onto the pure object, unless what? Unless you see the traces of filth on the pure object. Generally, what we're saying, we still put a caveat there. What we're saying is generally it's not going to happen. But just to be on the safe side, the caveat is there. But if you see the traces of filth on the pure object, then you take that. So, A is pure, B is impure, come in contact, generally no filth will transfer unless you see the traces of filth on A, which is what, or maybe you got a bit of color of the filthy object. Let's say the filthy object is what? Yellow. That was white. White garment and yellow filthy dry object. Touched and there's a yellow stain on the... That's traces of filth. Okay, we know that filth has transferred. But generally that would not happen, we're saying. But if it does happen, then you take it. Yeah, if you now start rubbing it, then what are you doing? What we're talking about is just contact, right? Let's say, for example, you had clean sweaters and unclean sweaters, but they're both dry. Put them on top of each other. You think anything's going to happen? They're dry. Nothing's going to happen unless you start smelling the clean ones and, oh, looks like through some evaporation or some fuming process, it's got the smell. What does that mean? Through some gas transfer in the gas form, there has been a transfer. And how do you know that? By smelling it now. Okay, but if it's still dry, they're both dry, clean, unclean clothes, all dry, mixed up, but you know which ones were clean, which ones were impure. You can just separate them out. And yeah, you can clean the unclean, wash the unclean ones then, if they just somehow got mixed up. But if you start seeing traces on the clean one, then yes, you need to take care of that then. But yeah, if you're rubbing, then what are you causing for? A bit of reaction now. And that rubbing may actually cause transfer of filth. And again, what would you look at after rubbing the two dry objects? You'll be looking at traces. If it's yellow color, has it got yellow color? If it's a particular smell, has that smell come over there? Or if it's something that can be tasted, then you'll start tasting it. Yeah. Okay, let's shall we continue this next week? Jazakumullah khair, inshallah. Take your break now, and Sheikh Abdul Aziz will be here in 10 minutes with you all, inshallah.